All right, we got everything good, up, jumping, rolling. Let me take a sip of my drink. Let me take a sip of my drink. All right, everybody, you are now watching Drew Boy Sports Show. I am your host, Kyng Ralph, here by myself tonight. I hope everybody had a good Christmas, happy holidays, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all that good stuff, whatever it is that you celebrate. Hope you had a good one, holidays with the fam. But this show's been brought to you by Fitboxer. If you want to do any podcasts like what you're watching, photo shoots, music videos, call the number on the bottom of the screen, 707 Fitboxer. And make sure you go like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. And we got the ticker down there on the bottom. Um, for my personal individual socials, you can find me at KYNGRALPH. For everything from threads to Instagram to TikTok to Twitch, add an underscore for Twitter. Make sure you go on YouTube at J.U.K. Media. The same thing. And make sure you subscribe on YouTube. On Instagram, J.U.K. Sports Show at Juke Sports Show. And we got a lot of show to get into, but we got the contenders and pretenders after finishing up, I believe it's week 15. Might be week 16. I think we got two more games left. So that will leave it for week 17, week 18. But contenders and pretenders had some very good games, had some teams get blown out, injuries. Ravens look dominant against the 49ers, but we got contenders and pretenders. So far, do we think the Lions will stand on business and be contenders? And I'm not sure. I'm um I'm sitting here looking at it, and it's like their defense is middle of the pack. Jared Goff is not a game changer, to use Cam Newton's words. So with the defense that's not really getting at the quarterback at a high clip, but they have Aiden Hutchinson. Unless he's able to take his game up to the next level in the playoffs, I'm gonna go ahead and say pretenders. I think they're someone on the outside of Aiden Hutchinson as well as St. Brown. If they can get complementary pieces to both of those studs on offense and defense, then I think I'll feel more comfortable calling them contenders. But for right now, we got the Lions. They're not standing on business. They pretenders all the way. Dolphins. I know we don't think of defense when it comes to the Dolphins for obvious reasons. When you have a weapon that is Tyreek Hill, it's kind of hard to focus on the defensive side of the football. But Jalen Ramsey coming back from injury has made them a top 5 defense, you can argue, since his return, with him being second in sacks. And his addition has created turnovers as well. So that plus how with high power their offense is, are they contenders or pretenders? I'm gonna call them contenders. So far we got the Lions as pretenders. I got I got the Dolphins as contenders. And if you paid attention to the pattern, kind of zigzagging. Double couple of you the one I lean on. Make sure. I'm not sure, man. I think with what I've been going through and what I'm thinking here is the Eagles. They have all the talent to be a contender, but from watching them play, and I thought of this topic just before I was watching the show. how much trust do you give someone when give a team that you know has played well, like the Patriots in the 2000s, or 2010s as well, honestly. But like the Kansas City Chiefs right now are not playing well, but they've been in the AFC Championship game for 4 out of the 5 last uh, couple seasons. You give them that leeway to kind of struggle through a season, thinking that they can turn it on when they get to the playoffs. Where like the Eagles don't really have crazy recent success. They went to the Super Bowl last year. They played well. They won a Super Bowl a couple years ago, but they had some all right seasons in between. So I'm gonna say that the Eagles are pretenders. I think that going into week 17 at this point, you are who you are. And I think that they have the talent, but it's the confidence to know that you can go into a situation and come out the victor. That's brings me pause on trying to or even putting them in a position where I think that they could be a legit contender. I think that Devontae Smith, his statements, firing the offensive coordinator to the comments that Jalen Hurts made, there's a shake in confidence that I'm kind of seeing from them that I dislike from someone that I would think is a legit contender. So I'm gonna say that they are pretender. And next up, got the Buffalo Bills. I think because of the Bengals losing Joe Burrow, Jaguars didn't aren't living up to expectation going into the season, and Kansas City's wide receivers dropping passes. I think this is a year where the AFC can really go in any direction, and there's teams that I probably wouldn't feel so much confidence in picking that I would give that slot to or have a legit chance. And I think that the Buffalo Bills is that team where right now they're third in sacks, about middle of the pack in turnovers to like they're not top 10, but they're about 12 in turnovers. And so I think when you add that with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, James Cook, they've been running the ball very, very effectively in the last couple of weeks, which is what I think has been their Achilles heel when it comes to the playoffs is the inability to run the football and not even necessarily like be dominant, but at least move the chains and have the ability to move the chains through the on the ground. And so I think from that, that's why I would go ahead and say I got Buffalo Bills as contenders, too much defense, ability to pressure the quarterback, which then creates turnovers, ability to put points on the floor, points on the board, and ability to control the line of scrimmage. I got them as contenders. And so that man Baker has had a lot of hate. A lot of people hating on how many commercials he's been in. And I think when you take away his name and his face and you just look at the stats as well as how well the team's been playing, it's hard to take away what he's been able to do this season. He's passed for over 3,600 yards. He has 26 passing touchdowns and 8 interceptions. And I believe right now he's got the Bucks. I think he has the Buccaneers at they're first in the NFC South with an 8-7 record. They went out. They win the division, which is something that nobody saw coming. So I think that his synergy with wide receivers, they have talent in those skill positions. It's always been the quarterback, even before Tom Brady got there when it was Jameis Winston. you knew with Mike Evans and Godwin. At the time, OJ Howard, I forget who their tight end is now, but they have the pieces in order to be able to at least contend in for the NFC South. I don't see that. I see them being one and done. Depending on the matchup, maybe they can get um one playoff game, but I just don't see it. But I think Baker has done enough to at least see how he played and give him another year in that offense with that team, with that roster as a starter. In this age-old argument, they become rivals at some point. At one point, it's going to be hard to talk about this era and then not have them be linked at the hip. I hope one day we get an opportunity to see them. It would be dope to see them in a final, a Nuggets 76ers and B Jokic matchup. But who would you rather have? And y'all know me. Y'all know I'm a huge Embiid over Jokic fan. So I'm gonna go Embiid, and I think that this season is a perfect example of why I would pick Jokic. I mean Embiid over Jokic. I think Embiid's dominance in the paint, but his ability to take you off the dribble, face up game, jump shot, pick and pop, threes, protect the rim. I think that him as an overall player and an individual, I just would take that over Embiid. I think that some of the team success that Jokic has had with him, when you look at their accolades are kind of similar to a certain degree. They're both 5-time um, All Star um, players. They both have multiple All Pros. Jokic has 2 MVPs. Embiid has 1. Jokic has the Western Conference Finals MVP as well as the Finals MVP and a ring. So Embiid has yet to get that team success, but as an individual, his rebounds per in his career, he averages more in his career in rebounds, points by a large margin, and then in Jokic is a better passer. And then I believe their defensive numbers look kind of similar, but when you watch the tape, Embiid is just a way better defender. And the numbers don't necessarily reflect that, but I definitely would take Embiid over Jokic as an all-around player. I think that what the Nuggets has done is they built around Jokic's strengths while also getting him. I believe he has a better roster overall. I do think that there's a conversation that could be had as whether or not the top, like their big three, is better than 76ers big three. So we'll see what happens this year. But up until this point in their careers, I'm gonna take Embiid as an individual player, and I just think he's overall better player. I would rather build my team around Embiid than to build my team around Jokic. And then we got these pick'ems: Bama, Michigan, Texas, Washington coming up this weekend. I believe they both play on Saturday or Sunday. I don't necessarily remember the exact dates, but so oh, man, like this is one of the ones where it's like a team having success. It's hard to root against them or even pick against them. It's easy to root against them, but pick when you're picking them to lose, it's hard because I've watched Michigan be so dominant all season, but it's Bama. Well, as much as I hate Michigan, I'm gonna go with Michigan. I think that their defense and Harbaugh, as long as he's the coach, by the time the game starts, I'm gonna pick Harbaugh. I think that their ability to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and we've seen Bama get abused by Texas. So unless the it's one of those things where Coach Saban, he's not gonna lose 2 times the same exact way. But if you can take that blueprint that Texas was able to do, bottle that thing up and use it for one night, I think Michigan can do it. So I'm gonna have Michigan over Bama. And then next we got Texas and Washington have enough time where Ewers should play. Uh-oh. I think Penix has been on the roll. And so I think at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, when the dust settles, Washington is gonna eke out that victory. I think Penix is gonna be able to outduel Ewers and get Washington to the national championship game. I'm looking forward to it though. I think there's gonna be some crazy headlines, stories, and things that can bring the allure for the national championship game. Like just going through history, if you got Alabama, Texas for the rematch, blue bloods, schools that with a lot of history, I think it'll be a really good football game. But even like a Bama Washington game would be great. Michigan, Texas would be great. And I think that all 4 games, I think regardless of the outcomes, I don't really see anybody getting blown out. I would be surprised if there was any blowouts, given that everybody stays healthy in the games that they're playing in. So I'm gonna go Washington, Michigan in the national championship game. Oh no, I spelled it wrong. Gotta up, gotta fix it. Christmas games. I was so excited for football that I completely forgot about the NBA Christmas games, which I used to be so excited for. This year because of the injuries and the way that it just kind of worked out, I wasn't as excited for it because I was just so focused on football, on the football games with the Raiders playing. Shout out to the Raiders. We got that victory. Cheers to them. But Bucks and Knicks, which was a good game. Knicks eke out a victory with Jalen Brunson going off for almost 40. And then Julius Randle helped out with like 23, 24. And they were able to pull away from the Bucks. And this is where I feel like it's a perfect opportunity for people to question what Becky Hammond's statements when she said that it's hard for small players, for your best player to be a small player and really affect championship basketball. I think Jalen Brunson is so underrated for what he's been able to do since being a Knick. And even when those games where Luka got hurt and Jalen Brunson was leading the pack, I think that at that point he showed that he can be a very efficient scorer and leader of a basketball team. And it sucks because I do think, my humble opinion, I don't trust Julius Randle, so I feel like he needs somebody with at least Julius. If Julius could perform at the talent level that he has and perform in the playoffs, I feel like it's enough for them to be at least a thorn in someone's side. in the playoffs, but I just don't trust Julius Randle to come through in the clutch. And it sucks to say I'm a big fan of him, but it just is what it is. So Warriors and Nuggets, Nugs squeak out the victory. I think they won by like 6 or 8 points over the Warriors. I just don't think, and this is where we got to have this loyalty and business conversation because Steph is 35. Clay is not the same Clay, and Embiid keep clotheslining people on the court. So what do we really do at this juncture? Because you got to make the decision for what's best for the organization and trading and looking into trading Draymond and Clay would probably be their best bet. I think being able to maximize what Steph is going to be able to do for next year, at least 2 3 seasons, where I think he'll be able to play at the level he's playing now for at least another. Then at that point, he might not have to be on ball so much, where you would definitely need to get a ball handler. Jordan Poole is going to pay a lot. It's going to be a lot more detriment than people expected it to be at the time. And the Nuggets are flying high right now. Everybody is healthy, rolling on all cylinders. And until someone dethrones them, I know there's some other teams, some hot teams right now. But until someone dethrones them in the playoffs, I still got the Nuggets going far. We got Celtics and Lakers, and LeBron had a decent game. I feel like he might be getting a little bit more harsh criticism than what he deserves, but 16, 8, I think he had 16, 9 rebounds and 8 assists or something along the lines. He was very close to a triple, which I was kind of surprised when I seen it because it's a Christmas game, so I wasn't expecting. I'm just looking like those very Russell Westbrook like numbers, and I was like, yeah, not when I looked at it, like, all right, Porzingis had about 25, AD had 40. So how they lose? Then it's like you look at LeBron, and it's like everybody's numbers is right about where it's supposed to be, and LeBron numbers were about 10 points off from what he normally averages. So although he's 38 years old, he's playing at such a high level. It sucks to put the blame on him, but when you look at everybody else's numbers and everybody's doing about what they would normally would do, and your numbers are the one looking a little light in the pockets. Got to put it on the Lakers, and we'll put it on LeBron as why the Lakers lost. But when you look at the Celtics, that lineup with White, Drew, Brown, Tatum, and Porzingis all as that five, the numbers that they putting up and that plus minus is crazy. And I think Porzingis being able to take that matchup now, if you want to say, oh, he gave up 40, you can say that, but at least it wasn't a 15-point night where, all right, if you go through the Lakers lineup and it's AD, LeBron, um, Vando, Russ, D'Lo, and AR-15, you gotta say if you're gonna go through this matchup, it's like, all right, where my points gonna come from? If AD gave you 40 and LeBron gave you 16, I'm not gonna expect crazy numbers from those other people to where if I got 25 from Porzingis, the to make up the amount of plus minus that we're gonna need in order to get this victory, I think that you can just trust. If he could be right around that margin of really, I would be happy with 15. Well, not 15. exactly, but 15 to 18. 15 to 20 range. I need him 18 to 20 range on a nightly basis in order for the Celtics to be able to really be a team in the East as well as just getting to the finals like a lot of people got. In this game, I'm not even gonna sit here and cap. I don't even know why I got it on here because I really didn't watch it. I started off watching it just to kind of see. It was a time period between the Ravens game coming on, and I believe it was the Lakers game going off. And I'm just like, all right, let me throw it on and see what's popping here. And Jaquez was hooping. Had a 30 ball, but no Butler, no Embiid. So it wasn't like a 5 o'clock game or a game that's going on at 5. I would have liked to see a better basketball game on at this time, but it's like once they put the schedule out, it just is what it is. But he get a dub over the Sixers. Both of them missing their best player on both sides, but Jaquez dropped a 30 piece and was able to lead the Heat to a victory. And we had Mavs and Suns, and I was excited for this one, but I didn't realize Bill was still dealing with back injuries. So no Bradley Bill, no Kyrie for the Mavs, and Luca went crazy. 50-point triple double. I think he had like 50 points and like 12, 13 assists. Um, Suns just don't have the depth because when you watch them play, Grayson Allen had a really good game, but Grayson Allen is not someone that you can count on to just get you 15 to 20 mark. And they're gonna play tough defense, but they're so iffy on offense. They don't shoot the way that they shoot. Like they shot last night, 27 points. I think they had 8 threes at one point. And so when you got Book, you got KD, then it's Bill Nurkic, and then it's like a drop off after that. And it's like a huge drop off where I feel like if they were been able to keep some of those pieces plus get the KD, you would have a better team. And so giving up so many pieces when they gave up CP, when they gave up um, Aiton and getting KD, I don't think they got enough depth where it's going to be able to pay dividends in it for them in the end. And this Mavs team, they look tough, flying around on defense. They was getting stops. Now Luca's still going Luca at the end of the day, but he's such an offensive weapon that I see them being able to get to the second round, if not third round, depending on how much Grant and Lively can come alive offensively. I brought it up. 49ers get destroyed by the Ravens. And it was a battle of two MVPs. And this was one where people were really questioning whether or not I'm not KD, if whether or not Brock Purdy is a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson. And that's the part for me where I'm like, yo, that's crazy and so disrespectful. So, as much as I have nothing against Brock Purdy personally, um, I think when it comes to like the the conversation of where Brock Purdy is, and I'm gonna talk about it later on, whether or not he got exposed or not. I just don't. I wouldn't go that far. I think Brock Purdy is who we think he is, and I don't think that he's a top 5 quarterback in the league, but he's no scrub either. And so I didn't go. I just hate the comparison though, because look at his team. and it's like we're literally trying to throw him up to this pedestal, and me bringing that up is like I was having a conversation with a guy on Facebook earlier, and he brought up Kurt Warner, Joe Montana, all these quarterbacks that had great players. But the one thing you're ignoring is when those great players got hurt and that quarterback needed to step up, what did he do? He stepped up. And Brock Purdy in the 3 games where he didn't have his Avengers, he looked pedestrian. And there are 4 losses. He has 9 interceptions, but he has 2 losses and all the other wins. So it's like, bro, when you need to do more, you start pressing, you throw really terrible passes. And that's the point for me where I gotta be honest on what I'm seeing on the field, and that's it just is what it is. So the question is it Lamar's MVP to lose? And I hate how quarterback driven this award has become because technically it's most valuable player. The quarterback is not always the most valuable. Brock Purdy, i.e., showed that because they didn't. Garoppolo is not the quarterback that Brock Purdy is, but they still got to the Super Bowl or an NFC Championship game with Garoppolo, and I believe they did get to the Super Bowl. They just lost to the Chiefs because Garoppolo was out there throwing some trash at the end of that game. But it's neither here nor there. And so I think that Lamar, how well he played, this was his moment for like his MVP moment. The moment you knew, like, oh, I seen him make this play. This is why he's the MVP. When they show his highlights at the end of the season, it's gonna be some highlights from this game. And so I think 300 yards of total offense, the 2 touchdowns. Don't think he had an interception, and they just completely dominated that game. And so, although I believe Tyreek, given no injury, or Christian McCaffrey should really be 1 and 2, I think that how Lamar played, how he has played, is gonna put him in a position to where the MVP really is his to lose. Um, Deontay Wilder had a fight over the weekend, and he looked terrible. Um, it sucks to see him get to this point. He looked punch drunk, and I'm a big fan of his, but yeah, it's time to call it. It's time to call it. Um, Losing over the weekend to Joseph Parker, he was probably second or third best fighter that he fought. So it's not like he lost to a slouch, but it's how bad he lost. And that's once you get to a certain peak and you're trying to stay at that peak, but it's like the people that are at the peak are just giving you the business. At some point, especially in a contact sport like that, you got to start to question, is it worth it? And so if I was Wilder, I would go ahead and get up out of there and before there's some kind of serious injury happens. Um, but I wish nothing but the best for him. But I hope he doesn't continue to fight and take the punishment that he was taking in this Parker fight. He looked terrible. So I got some quick hitters. Like I mentioned before, did Brock Purdy get exposed? No, he did not get exposed. I feel like for me, it just showed me what I already kind of knew. And the one thing that there's a few different layers to this, but people need to understand Brock Purdy is only in his second season. So when I make criticisms of him, I want him to be better, or he can be better. These are ways for him to be better and things that he lacks at. I'm not saying that he's trash, never gonna be anything but trash. Because at one point, Tom Brady was a game manager. Then he got to a certain part of his career and talent level that he was able to move the needle. when he didn't have pretty much the Avengers on his squad. And so Purdy just showed me that he doesn't play well when his team goes down by a touchdown or two. Him being able to call or Shanahan calling certain plays, there were even Micah Parsons noticed there was no passes going down the field when you're down by 21. It's a lot of dink and dunks, swings, swing passes, and screens, and I just feel like Purdy is about what Purdy is, and there's nothing wrong with that. Purdy is a high level game manager, but he's not a difference maker, and that's why I said I agree with Cam Newton. Earlier today, I saw this stat, and it was like Chet has 3 more points or 3 less points than Wemby with 77 less shots. And I know Wemby had this immense hype coming um, out of the draft. Chet had a crazy amount of hype last year when he was drafted, and he got the Liz Frank injury um, in the pro-am game and missed all last year. So now he's technically still a rookie. And so it's like, would you rather have Chet or Wemby? I'm still gonna say Wemby. I feel like right now Chet is a better all-around basketball player than Wemby, and some of it is a little unfair given that a lot of times people's team success gets brought into the fold when we're having these conversations about individual talent. I feel like right now, Chet is a better basketball player. In the long run, Wemby will have the better career. So I'm gonna still say side with Wemby as far as who I would take, but Chet ain't no slouch. Should the Bears move on from Fields? DJ Moore was asked this question, and he pretty much said that he didn't feel like Caleb Williams and Drake May was better than Justin Fields. And I feel like where Justin is right now, it's easy to try to compare quarterbacks. One's in two are in college and one is in the NFL. And so you're looking at them what they've been able to do when they were in college. And I just feel like Justin Fields, even when he was in college, showed me more than Drake May. But probably Caleb Williams, I probably would say was at college. But now when the fact that Justin's in the pros and I've seen him play against pros, I don't think that all right, so let's just say you get 2 top 7 draft picks. I feel like you can trade the first one because everybody's gonna want a quarterback or want Caleb, so you can trade back and get more pieces, and not even really have to trade back that far, like, just trading from 1 to 3 or 1 to 5 can put you in a position to where you can get a crazy talent, and so but still being able to have Justin, who I feel like there isn't that much of a gap between him and Caleb to where I would feel like you would make this crazy jump at quarterback. And for me, I personally feel like they should keep Justin. When you watched what it was like when Tyson took over their backup, it was like they ran a completely different offense. And it's like, why are you doing this offense like this? And then when your starter, the future, comes in, you run something that completely goes against what his strengths are. And so I wouldn't move on from him, but it is what it is. We'll see what happens with the Bears. You never know. They never make the right decision. But it's been a pleasure. I'm gonna get up out of here. Hope everybody had great holidays. Be safe out here for New Year's. Look out for more stuff coming up. Like I said, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff on the socials that have been down there on the bottom. Make sure you go and you follow Juke Sports Show. StreamYard added a an avenue for me to live stream on the Instagram page. So we will be going live from Juke Sports Show on Instagram, Juke Media on YouTube, and the He Say She Say channel on Facebook. I appreciate you all. Got some good stuff coming at the top of the year, and I'm out of here. Peace. Peace, love.